Welcome to Home and Away. I'm Lori Carson. Today we explore a place and a program that seem to make perfect horse sense, using animal therapy for residents and visitors here at Midnight Farm. Joining me are Mike Strauss, Executive Director of Community Living Opportunities, and Allison Frizzell, who is a parent of one of the residents here at Midnight Farm. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Sure.
Welcome.
Mike, what exactly is the concept behind Midnight Farm? Tell us what this is all about.
Well, it's, some people love to live in the city. Some people, we're Kansans. We're Midwesterners. A lot of us like to have a rural life. And some people want to live it and other people want a little piece of it. And the idea behind Midnight Farm is a living farm, first and foremost. It has a lot of elements to it, but it's a living farm that somebody can live, a life that they can live or a life that they can experience. And it's for a lot of different people, for a lot of different purposes, but in essence, that's what it is.
We want to make sure everyone understands that this is really a unique location, a one of its kind, really, in the entire Midwest. So we're fortunate to have it at our doorstep here. Allison, as a parent of, I know your son is a resident here at Midnight Farm. This has some personal meaning to you, and as I understand it, almost a decades-long dream come true, really.
Oh, at least. Our son is 25, and when Tom was about 3, I read an article about a young man who had autism and who had spent a summer working on a farm in Ohio. And I was so taken with the idea that I kept the article. It was about a place called Bittersweet Farms. And I put the article aside and we kept it and just kept the idea of a place like that someday for our child. But we really didn't have any idea how we could ever make this happen. And it wasn't until several years later that we started to work with CLO and the possibility of this dream coming true really started in earnest.
Now I understand, I know I asked you where the name came from, and that's a very personal story as well.
Yes, when my children were young, I used to read a book to them called Midnight Farm, and it's written in a prose style. The subject is a young boy who is afraid of the dark, and his mother is showing him all of the different communities, if you will, and families that exist throughout the farm during the nighttime hours. And I think the last stanza of the book talks about the safety, the quiet, the stillness, the peacefulness. And I just always, that resonated with me because I felt that if we could provide something like that for Tom, it would provide such freedom and safety for him. And so I always had this thought that if we were ever able to make this happen, that I would love to call it the Midnight Farm. And these guys were nice enough to indulge me.
It wasn't much of a choice.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that whole premise because the relationship, I was here the other day when a camp was going on at Midnight Farm, and the relationship between these kids and the animals is nothing short of remarkable. Explain that.
Well, I wished I could, to be honest with you. I've grown up with both children and animals all my life, and have been in the disability field for most of my adult life. And there truly is special relationships that develop, and it's well known with companion dogs. It's well known in many ways the benefits of and relationships that form with very honest animals and horses and miniature ponies and our petting paddock animals, and they are all specifically chosen. And there's a whole process around that, but they're all specifically chosen for their gregariousness, for their socialness. If you walk up to any of our animals, they will walk straight up to you. There's things that we do in the selection, but the truth is, the kids just open up to these guys. They are in awe of them to begin with, And then they just they get to hug them and feel them. And you know, some of the kids with autism, through the camp, you would see just within a week the relationships that develop and the joy that they have. It was just you know, whether it's just a tremendously wonderful experience for them or whether it's therapeutic, I'm not sure what the difference is there. Because the truth is, if it makes them happy and they are less, and they're more social, especially kids with autism, and they're more gregarious, one would think you did a good thing.
And Mike, we're sitting on about 40 acres here. Allison mentioned this being a dream come true, that it happened. How did it happen? How did this come about?
Well, obviously the first thing we did is we purchased the property in 2005. After a great deal of looking, we purchased this property.
We drove a lot of country roads together.
We did. And you know, some people would say, gosh, you're kind of out there. But when you look at it from above, you'll see that we are really within 30 minutes of about 10 cities. You know, looking at right in the middle of Douglas and Johnson County, and looking from, you know, Ottawa, Baldwin, Gardner and Edgerton, Olathe, and then on the other axis you've got Lawrence and Eudora and DeSoto and Shawnee, and you're right in the middle of that line. So people from a variety of communities can access, you know, the farm and enjoy it, and that's what we wanted.
Well, Midnight Farm is definitely residential as well as a destination location, and I want to talk first, as you come in the gates, this striking red barn. We're sitting inside now, far from a barn in appearance in here, more like a lodge. This multi-purpose room, describe the functions of what this room will entail.
Well, it was designed, and it was designed to, as you can see in it, it looks out over the arena. So, you know, this is a living farm, and what we wanted is people with disabilities to have a place where they could do crafts and they could do all kinds of engaging activities, but they also could watch other activities at the same time. But the lodge is intended to be different things at different times. For example, through the day, it's going to be some day services for people with developmental disabilities for about 5 hours. Great lunches, you know, and crafts and music and events where you'd have pet therapy, you know, opportunities, or people who visit almost like a communiversity, you know, somebody coming in and doing music 2 or 3 times a week, the farrier come once a week, and it all is experiential. Outside of that, in the evening, it's something entirely different. In the evening, this is supposed to be a place where the scouts can meet. This is supposed to be a place where 4-H can meet. This is going to be a place where we're going to have some church groups meet. And really, that's something for them, for this to be theirs too, with one exception. The notion is, the partnership is, they can do that, but we'd like for them to latch on to something at Midnight Farm. If it's the 4-Hers, we want it to be the petting paddock, and maybe help us with, make people with disability attend, you know, a state fair. If it's a pony club, they're going to be doing some training with our horses, because the horses need lots of training independent of what we use them with therapy, so the pony club can help us with that in exchange for having a place to meet and having access to the arena. The real exciting part for me is bringing the community in such a way as it's a win-win arrangement for the group and for people with disabilities.